Cloud9. But okay, we're resuming.
It's happening.
It is happening, guys. We're doing League of Legends. I almost forgot about this game. Just talking about Legends of Runeterra for so long. Man. Okay. Well,
They interrupted our
playing.
podcast.
And guys, we are on patch 1017 for game 4. Both teams have agreed to this. And this is what we're going to do to finish the series tonight. So we have the Lucian ban and the Renekton ban. We gotta get back in the groove. We gotta talk about these bans. I mean, Lucian was so big for DRX's first win in game number 1. Chovy kind of stomped BDD, and DRX haven't let Gen.G get Renekton all night long, but
This is
still able to crush.
I want to point out something, by the way. This is the first time ever in the history, I think, that a series has been played on 2 separate patches.
That is pretty insane.
That is actually very cool. So remember,
history here.
everyone, Yone is global banned. He cannot be selected. He cannot be hovered, picked, whatever. You're not allowed to select him. But we are on patch 1017. So that is pretty interesting. Now, Gen.G, they are here on the blue side. And we'll see what they end up banning away. It's going to be Twisted Fate, handed back over to DRX now. And so Gen.G not wanting to go with any sort of B1 Twisted Fate shenanigans. Nidalee now going to bite the dust by DRX.
I guess they're expecting Ashe to come out here. Maybe they want to play Volibear, especially with the set ban. Pioshik didn't look great, though, when we saw him on the Volibear in game number 2, but perhaps they just want to roll it back. It'll be interesting to see what he plays. Lilia also available, so certainly if he wants to go for comfort, that might be another choice for him. But this is, again, the 3rd game in a row that they have given Ashe to Ruler, which I don't know how to feel about it, because every single time he plays it, he looks like a god. I'm not sure why they wouldn't just try one time to ban it away.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see what DRX is going to try to do. Okay, so they're going to go full Sin. And now Ashe, interestingly, she's already an answer to Kalista, and Gen.G, I mean, if they want to play it really, really, really careful, they could just go Ashe Tahm Kench, and that will neutralize almost all Kalista pairings down in bot lane, and it'll really make it hard for DRX to be able to do anything inside of the game. So DRX self-counterpicking themselves. We've seen this trap, R1, R2, Graves Kalista, elsewhere in other regions. It's a pretty weak opening because it allows you to just get punished so hard. These are 2 short-range, hard engage marksmen.
All right.
And here comes Hecarim getting locked in now, and that's going to be a flex champion. It's able to go jungle and top lane.
And Klid just demolished pretty much everyone on the side of DRX with that champion. So he looks poised to try to do it again here, you would imagine. But as you're mentioning, it can get flexed. Echo comes in here against Azir, also pretty common. But Chovy is really trying to put the carry pants on.
Yeah.
And Ashe Braum was definitely another choice I was considering if they weren't going to go for the Ashe Tahm Kench. But as we see, Gen.G decided to forego the support pick for now. They thought it was higher value to get the jungle instead.
Well, they're banning Braum here away from Gen.G. It does have a lot of value against a lot of DRX's champions. But still, DRX, I mean, they should be wanting most likely to just pick top on R4 and then counterpick support. Gangplank getting banned away, and that is very surprising to me. I wonder what this could end up actually signifying here. Maybe they want to go Shen on R4 and retain it as dual flex for both top and support. Suppose that could be an option.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that Keria can play it. So it'll be interesting to see if it actually does come out here. You'd imagine that they're going to hold top counterpick. There's the Shen. I don't know how you pulled that out of thin air, but the Shen comes in. You're exactly right. And there you go. The profit returns. So Gen.G now, they have to respond. They're going to have to pick support and probably top lane. But again, it be flexed.
It's just very difficult. So I think that they have to just lock Tom Kench for life if they want to play it super safe. Oh no, they're going to go for the Karma. And okay, let's see what else they end up pairing it with. And the reason that I said Tom is because you don't know if the Shen is top or support. And against most of the supports that can still go with Kalista, there's not a whole lot left that is really going to be super menacing. But Gen.G, I mean, the Karma in theory is also still able to be pivoted to top lane, but the Akali, which had been banned so many times before in this series, has finally made it through. She gets locked in here. And what is the answer going to be?
Yeah, it's essentially blind pick Akali, and they also take away, and this is what you were talking about, the flex comes in, so Shen is in fact going to be going top. So Doran says, yes, Akali's fine, let me play Shen into this, and we will be on our merry way. And we have a pretty standard pairing with the Kalista, with the Nautilus coming out here once again for Keria. So interesting to see that come out. And I kind of like the Karma takeaway too. You know, it's not bad. I think that Life was pretty good on it as well. Had some nice outplays in the lane, and of course, great plays during the team fighting, even if it can kind of go unnoticed. So definitely more comfort and another nice pick for the side of Gen.G.
Yeah, and I think that DRX, I mean, their team composition, it is very, very, very all-in. They need to maintain control, but it's going to be very hard to do so in the early stages. So we need to pay attention to Deft and Keria down in bottom lane to see if they can get the ball rolling. Graves is going to have an awkward time. There's not a whole lot of gank setup except at top and in bottom, but trying to go up against Akali is going to be a bit interesting. And apparently we are going to come back to us, the casters, here once again.
Yeah, 3-minute delay.
3-minute delay because we are on a live server. So
exactly.
That is, yeah.
It's been a while.
All right, well.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
So you watch any good movies? No.
It's been 300 years.
It has been. It has.
It's been 3 hours, actually, is what it's been, to be honest.
That's true. We had a bit of a long break halfway through, so I suppose that makes it a little bit easier to stomach for some of you guys out there. But we're just waiting for the 3 minutes to come in. And I mean, taking a look at the draft, do you feel like DRX? Do you think this is the way that they come back in the series? Is this actually how they draw it to 5 games?
No, I think that, I mean, their draft is just so all in. It feels like it's so reckless also. I mean, a lot of their champions are able to be itemized against by Gen.G. Like, this is not, I mean, this is a very DRX kind of draft, and when I say that, I don't say it with good intentions. I say it because they're relying on the skill of their bottom lane and their mid laner to cover up the high amount of variance that is present within the 5 champions together. But then in addition to that, just having to outplay their opponents. And it's always a very bizarre thing when you end up seeing it, why they draft this way, why they go about the game this way. And when you consider what their weaknesses actually tend to be against most of the LCK teams, or just in general, really, it makes all the less sense, I guess, why you would further try to just, you know, go with the die roll. Trying to think of the most polite ways to go about it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see. Maybe they just feel like, well, this has worked for us in the past. They're certainly mixing it up, right? It's a little bit different from what we've been seeing, where Game 3 was kind of like a all over the place kind of draft. So maybe this time around they had a very specific idea in mind, where they're like, you know, I mean, first pick Ashe, but let's just do it anyway.
They have a lot of smoke and mirrors with the Echo and the Shen in the later stages. They have some reach with the Graves, but the dilemma is that, yet again, there's no insurance. if Graves, Echo, Shen, Kalista, Nautilus that fall behind, there's no avenues back into the game, realistically. Their champions are so reliant on maintaining tempo inside of the game. And what I mean by that is that they can't really be missing any beats. They need to always be hitting things. They need to always be hitting rotations, always hitting Shen ultimate, Stand Uniteds, capturing dragons, maintaining control of the game. And if they ever slow down at all inside of this game, it just gives Gen.G so much breathing room that they can't afford to let happen. The other thing that's very awkward is that the Graves has a very hard time playing the very early stages of the game outside of top or bot lane. But because the Akali should know this, Akali should have a pretty easy time surviving. So the only real chaos that can unfold is down in bottom lane with the Kalista and the Nautilus versus the Ashe and the Karma. So that's the most volatile point. Graves is not going to be as effective as Hecarim the longer that the game goes. The Akali is actually going to be a pretty big threat to a lot of the carries on the side of DRX the longer the game goes, and the Shen just doesn't really serve super big purpose. Karma shields later, going to really invalidate the opponents. Gen.G just have a lot more tools to work with.
That's true, and we've seen some more even drafts. I guess even like Game 2 would be a decent example, because Game 3 was a little bit all over the place in terms of DRX's draft, but now it feels like Gen.G have a lot more options, and they've already done more with less. So, yeah, I mean, this time around, you've got Ruler on Ashe again.
Yep.
And this time BDD got his Azir, and we have Akali, who's been banned all season, or not season, all series, goes over the way of Rascal. It seems like they get a lot of these picks that they're very comfortable with, but also work pretty well together. And like they've got kind of a composition identity, and it seems to counter pretty well in terms of what DRX have brought in. So that's it's kind of what we're thinking for now. So we don't usually get this 3-minute delay, but it's interesting that we have the time to kind of break down the draft, talk about more in depth instead of just like using the beginning of the game to touch on some of that. So I think it has been 3 minutes. Yeah,
I'm not sure what the remainder of this delay is.
Yeah,
I'm not. You know what? Just,
live servers.
Honestly, just give us another pause. Like you know what? Let's just keep going.
Sure.
Oh,
okay. It looks like we're ready to go, guys.
Curse.
we finally got in. So thankfully, the curse has been broken, and all we can do is hope and pray that, well, no issues arise in this game. Because if they do, we might be in some big trouble. So let's get into this one. We'll see who is going to come ahead of this one. If you guys are just joining us, maybe you're watching the VOD of just the games. We had an incredibly long break, about 3 hours, and we are finally back. The names look weird because we're playing on the live server, and I suppose that is for the date, because here in Korea, and I suppose actually pretty much everywhere, we are in August 30th. So, just some nice dancing coming out of Ruler here.
Rascal and Pyoshik's IDs are actually at the limit, right? In terms of characters allowed?
Are they?
I think so. I think they're actually at the limit.
It is.
Isn't it 15 or it's 16? I think it's 15 or 16. I think it's 15, but it might be 16. I could be wrong here.
Okay.
It's fine. It's just an interesting thing. Not a big deal.
So 9 to 8, Azir looks like he has the upper hand. So GG.
Well,
for the mid lane.
Yeah, 9 to 8.
That's about it.
And BDD is actually taking Comet versus the Halo Blades on Chovy, and you can just see the trade potency by Echo with this rune setup. You can see Keria and Deft, they're looking for a trade. They're finally going to get one.
I feel like Jonas Strong are pretty short break. Not a big deal. I think we're ready to get back into this one. So,
all right. Well, okay. So
I just want to let it happen. I don't want to say anything.
We're just everything is honestly it's gonna be.
You guys don't even know.
Yeah. Okay.
ridiculous about that.
So BDD is just getting traded on here by Chovy. He's in a pretty good spot. Now, honestly, Pioshik coming in here and just smoke screening Azir is not bad by any means. Gives him a little bit more damage, gives Chovy a little bit more freedom. It is a prank, a pressure game, as he's going to transition. And
on here.
Wow. Chovy really laying the smackdown actually here in mid versus BDD.
So many times in a row. I mean, he's just like getting in range every time and like taking the trade over and over and over again. Beasted through all 3 of his corrupting potion stacks.
Yep.
And now he doesn't have flash. So had to TP back to lane at the same time. Definitely not the start that BDD was looking to. There's another trade down in the bottom side, but this is very annoying for Keria to deal with, the follow-up harass because of the double ranged versus a melee support. And Pioshik?
No.
Okay, we're back. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. So invitations are muted, so now they can actually play the game. Thank you to our lovely fans for distracting the players and giving us another pause. We are back in it, and we see that Pioshik is, well, not going to be down here. He's actually going for the enemy Raptors, as Clid was spotted on the ward. Clid going to steal those. We got a nice taunt up here on the top side.
Yeah.
Seems like all the lanes of Gen.G are kind of struggling bit by bit.
I think that they might really just be thrown off. Now, remember, for everyone watching, this is being played on the live servers. Now, for any North American fans watching, no, that does not mean that the players have 60 or 70 ping. They have 7. So,
yeah,
there's really no difference between live and TR. I don't know if the servers are hosted in the same building or anything like that, but everything is still relatively the same, so it's not like there's any ping issues or any sort of differences that players have to adjust to immediately.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, man.
And this is just the beatdown in the mid lane. I mean, it's 40 CS to 27. BDD has gone through all of the stacks of his corrupting pot again. You can see it down there in the bottom left. He's got that one last stack ticking. This is really not good news for, again, BDD's, like, big pick that he's very well known for. They should probably loop around here, but Clid... He knew it! Okay, TP is coming in. I don't... Okay, it's just Chovy being annoying. Saving the ward for the, 10 seconds that are left.
Well, okay, I mean, they get the teleport out of Chovy, and now you can see that Azir, he ends up having boots. He's trying to reset as fast as he possibly can. And Clid over here with Pioshik. Pioshik ahead in EXP right now. Gonna send out the end of the line right there, as he's just trying to continue to get EXP. And you can see that Hecarim, he's down here looking like he wants to set up some sort of a gank or something. Pioshik just gonna come over. And I don't know the intent of DRX, so even though Pioshik is denying Clid from being able to get EXP at this point in time, it's not causing the kind of damage that one would expect, because Ashe and Karma are still just able to farm underneath the turret. And now Pioshik is actually going to steal away the Raptor camp. So that is the first real bit of damage that's going to happen. Nice ultimate by BDD.
Yeah, good ultimate trade there. That's ultimately going to affect that. Wow, I can't believe I just did
that was an L.
That was incredible. Yeah, that was a W, 100%.
No.
He is ultimate to feel good about that one, because, of course, now they have a chance to maybe send Clid in to help out a little bit, and here we go. Just as I'm saying, they're trying to force this flash. There it is. Good flash out of Chovy.
Yeah.
As he's going to get out of there, no problem.
And so BDD right now, all he wants to do is just shove this wave in immediately. Chovy trying to get another trade on him. Sand Soldier comes out. Pioshik now going to pick up the Infernal Dragon for his team. And honestly, he's getting very, very, very far ahead right now on this Graves. He's at 48 farm. He's already level 6, and Clid just 5.
Life had to flash away. Even took some minion hits on his way out as he was trading him. Pioshik, he's level
Graves.
6. There it is, the Sniperino. As First Blood is going to come in, and by the way, we've got Shen. Ruler is going to flash, trying to kill Doran here as the teleport now is coming in. Akali, level 6, looking for 2. Will get... The flash is going to force him over the wall. That is massive. It means that now they cannot quite get onto Doran. He's going to try to trade it back.
But
he at least gets and he's going to get the 2. Oh, the execute comes in. That is huge, as Shen is not going to go down to the side of Gen.G. It ends up being a 3 for 2?
A 3 for 2, but I think that EXP goes the way of Gen.G. So the gold doesn't go over, but I think EXP from Shen's death does go over. And so at the end of this, Rascal, he took part in 3 solo kills by himself. That is enormous in terms of EXP. He's level 8 already. Doran's level 7. We're turning up into top lane. Let's take a look, hopefully, when we can see when Doran dings level 8. He has a giant wave in front of his turret. He does have Tiamat already. But you can see that Rascal... Okay, so Doran just dinged level 8, but there's a wave in front of Rascal, so I'm not totally sure how that is going to go off. Let's take a look at this replay. So Carrier just barely misses the dredge line. And Life forced to flash away right at the very end. The Rend not quite able to get the kill. Pioshik was busy getting the red buff away. Ultimate came out. Doran goes for the flash. Ends up missing on to Ruler, who flashes away. Now right here, Rascal, if Carrier just dies, he goes to the other end of the Shroud and he tries to pick up the kill, most likely on Doran. Or perhaps actually maybe he would just play it a little bit safer. In the end, he ends up getting so much more value than I think that he could have anticipated. And as we come back into live, 1,500 gold lead roughly, or actually almost 2,000 for DRX, not even including that Infernal Dragon.
Yeah. So Infernal Dragon on top of all of that, I think a lot of the lanes are also going pretty heavily in the favor of DRX. Obviously, you look at mid, 20 CS ahead. Right now it's Chovy over BDD. The bottom lane as well, down about 8 CS here. They're trying to set it up now because Clid has his ultimate available. They're going to deny this vision as he just barely is going to sneak into that brush. And I would assume his target is Keria because no flash here. That arrow, though, is going to sail wide, and that is going to be very suspicious. Down comes the ward, and Keria spots the Clid. Things really not working too well for Gen.G in this game.
Yeah, and right now, DRX, I mean, everything that they could want is going their way, pretty much, at this point in time. The only thing that they have going for them is the Akali is pretty much not getting anything going wrong her way in top lane. That was a complete failure of a sentence, by pointing that out. As Rascal, oh man, I can't honestly lost sanity at this point. Pioshik, level 8 to Clid's level 6. Things are still going pretty well. Chovy just continuing to shove in the wave. Now remember, they have the Rift Herald available whenever they do want to use it. They probably should plant it down up in top. Clid just trying to farm up as much as he can, ends up using his smite. They're still not even level 7, as Pioshik just continues to keep stealing away Clid's camps. Gonna make it back over, he's gonna get the bad news. He will clear the entirety of that camp, but golems are about to be up. And you can see Clid's pathing. It's very bizarre. He constantly is just adapting it in real time. And Chovy trying to keep shoving in BDD. He's up quite a bit in the CS department.
Yeah, that he is. And we talked a lot about this Akali. That's going to be one decent hope for the side of Gen.G. I mean, he's already got Gunblade plus an Amp Tome. So a lot of the gold that was taken down on the bottom side. And some great farm, actually. He's got the best on his team. It's not the best overall, as Chovy is, of course, going to win in that sense. And look at what they're doing. They're lane swapping, and they're trying to give all of this plate gold over to the side of Ruler. Of course, this will be split with Clid.
Yeah.
Who's going to get 160. But Ruler up here getting some of that gold is really nice if you're trying to keep your Ashe in this game.
And Graves ends up getting the second dragon of the game. It is Cloud, and Mountain ends up getting rolled, which is very spicy for both of these two teams. If Gen.G can get a couple of Mountains under their belt, it really, really hurts. The hard dive and engage that DRX's comp is basically centered around. Another Enchanted Crown Shot arrow going wide here in the LCK.
Why people happy?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. But, yeah, not going to hit anybody, so that's 0 for 2 now is Ruler. Not sure what's going on with that so far. I mean, the Graves was able to dash away from it, but what I mean is I'm not sure why we're getting a lot of these kind of like lower percentage chance to hit arrows rather than some of what we've seen before. And maybe it was just that Ruler was a little bit more accurate, so it seemed higher percentage chance. There's always that. As BDD has been able to slowly, well, actually it's about the same lead here, maybe a tiny bit more, but he's at least stopped the bleeding mostly in that mid lane. But it'll be interesting to see how much of an effect he's going to have in this game compared to Chovy, who is just, you know, beating him by a country mile at this point.
Yep. I mean, Chovy is very well positioned inside of this game. He's up almost 30 CS right now. Already has the Proto Belt, has the Sork Pen boots, Dark Seal, and Corrupting Potion. Just gonna be waiting right now, and this is looking very akin to the game number 1, where Gen.G really struggled to get any sort of a footing inside of the game after getting thrown off kilter super early on. So we'll see if DRX can maintain their composure inside of this game and not try to get too overeager at any point. Deft is also very well positioned inside of this game. This is going to be the second Rift Herald capture of the game, and this does take quite a bit of time. Also, DRX rolling pretty well with the Scuttle Crab over there on the left-hand side. Oh, wow. No. Well, they know.
They're trying to force this.
Deft?
Yes, they do know, but Deft is all alone up here on the top side, but the flash over in is a ton of damage, but the knockup comes in, and that is so huge from the side of DRX. That is 2 kills, and now they're trying to get on top of Chovy here. We'll see what they can do, as Chovy is going to be able to get away. Here comes the rest of the team, though. This is not looking so good for the side of DRX as well. Well, it's looking good for DRX. Ruler is going to go down. And, well, not looking so good now for Gen.G.
Well, it looks like Rascal did manage to pick up the Rift Herald, but yeah, like you're saying, this one is looking pretty doomed for Gen.G. They're now down almost 4,000 gold. Tons of minion waves just going into the void right now. Rascal, he is picking up a lot of stuff for himself on the Akali, and they did get that Rift Herald, but still, I mean, at what cost? They ended up losing a couple of their members. Hecarim is just so far behind. He's down 2 levels. BDD down 1 level. Ruler down 2 levels. Life down a level. I mean, the only person that has any upside right now on this team for Gen.G is Rascal. So, I mean, it's looking more and more like we're actually going to go to Game 5. And we just see the very hard engage. Rascal actually botched some of his mechanics onto Dev. And so a lot of damage was missing. Chovy, he still had his ultimate available here, and so they did not have the damage to actually kill him in the end. Ruler ends up getting tagged there by the taunt end of the line. Ended up looking like a tombstone there, so it ended up just being a 3 for 0. And Gen.G, I mean, they're gonna just keep playing ping pong with the waves. This isn't LEC or anything like that, and so the gold is just gonna constantly be getting pushed back and forth. So the gold lead, it probably should be pretty locked at this point. 3,500 without Trinity Force, without first core item completion for Gen.G. I just imagine DRX is gonna pick up their dragon.
Absolutely. I mean, they're in such a good spot now. We got 25 seconds until this is going to come down. And, I mean, you've got some massive numbers on the side of DRX already. I mean, the Graves is looking good. We've got some great items on the side of the Callista at the same time. Rascal, desperate. They actually did get the Rift Herald, so trying to make something work up here in the top side. But it's just going to be a little bit of chip damage onto this turret, not much else. And let's see what Gen.G can do to challenge this Drake if they do it at all.
I think that Pioshik's just going to be able to get this one for free, and this is really a pretty big nightmare spot right now for Gen.G here in this game. They can try to wait for the Akali. I mean, she picks up Merc Treads in this spot, and that's just going to stunt her build all the more. It's such a heavy investment into gold right now. She's going to stunt her third item completion. She ends up picking up a Morello. I might not make it to game 5. And Nashor's Tooth still a little bit ways away for BDD. Blade of the Rune King finally coming in onto Ashe. Trinity Force still not completed. BDD, he's got a hot date. That's why he's shoving out immediately. Chobi's there to pick up the next wave that's going to be coming in. And now for DRX, all they have to do is sit back and relax, wait for that that Mountain Soul to come up, and with that, they should be able to close out the game.
Yeah, and it's definitely a different look from what we've seen in the series. I mean, it's just been total domination from the side of Gen.G for the last couple of games. I suppose that the laning effect and how far they were able to get ahead and some of the forced fights that Gen.G felt they had to take was really might be the difference maker in this one. And just the magnitude with which Gen.G were able to destroy DRX in the last 2 games, I wouldn't have guessed that this could even happen, but here we are. And there are so many leads. I mean, every lane has pretty much got a lead except the top lane, and there are pretty big leads. Even the Echo, even though he doesn't have any kills, he's still 50 CS ahead. So at 19 minutes into the game, you're not even going to get your red buff. That's not yours anymore, Gen.G.
Yep.
And
you can,
I mean, yeah.
You see the utility items even coming out. Okay, well,
boy.
I mean,
well, yeah.
You know, I mean,
okay. There you go. Just a little alley-oop over the side of Pioshik, who will pick up that kill.
Well, that is a nice little pickup there for Pioshik, who is very big right now on this Graves. He did just complete his Black Cleaver, and I think that at this point, I mean, if everyone just starts going into utility items, if Death Dance comes out next on Graves and he goes for the brawlery kind of build at that point, then things just continue to get worse and worse. Pioshik right there by pressing the R key. Best Karthus impression yet again. 4,000 gold lead does continue to remain as the advantage, and there's the Morello on Akali, and I'm sure that a lot of people are thinking, what healing on the side of DRX? I know I am. So Akali is yeah, gonna be down an item pretty much at the next fight. Shen is gonna basically swing in value comparatively for his team. So Boris has made his way over to the Cretan Peninsula. LPL has ended.
That's great. Just, you know, came in at the exact right time to sabotage things here. Gotta love it. And, yeah, I mean, the percentage penetration would have been fantastic with all the MR that is being built on the side of DRX. Not too much healing on top of all that. So there you go. We'll see what he's able to do from here on out. Perhaps just, I mean, unless they're trying to really force a fight sometime soon, in which case I guess it's okay, but at the same time, generally one of the not one of the best spots to pick that one up. And now a lot of the CS lead is actually extended to a lot of the other lanes too. I mean, you've got bottom side, the Kalista is quite ahead. You've even got the jungle as Graves is doing his thing. And you see that Jonas Strong, he's really just got the camera only on Rascal, seeing what he can do, but especially with the less penetration, I mean, he's not really going to be touching the Shen at all.
Yeah, I mean, right now, everything is lined up for DRX. 1 minute from now, Shen is going to be pretty impervious in the next fight. Stand United also going to have immense value. You can see Gen.G, I mean, they're coming over, they're clearing out vision around the Baron, maybe anticipating that DRX could go for some sort of a sneak and in favor of just sacrificing the soul. And normally I would probably scratch my head at that, although it is something that historically DRX has done as a team. And so now there's the needlessly large rod on Rascal. He's going to be trying to go into the Rabadon's death cap, but I mean the real problem here is the level leads. 2 in jungle, 2 in mid lane, 1 in AD carry, and 1 in support. Oh no, actually no. None in support. Life is the same level as Kyria.
Well, Rascal, not sure about this one. He's going to be able to flip over and actually go back in trying to go on top of Death Tier. That's not really going to work out for him. And you can see that that's not the best start if you're trying to get on top of the Drake. So I guess they're just considering throwing it over to the side of DRX as the night goes on and my voice begins to go.
All right, well, I do not know if you'll still have your voice by game number 5, Valdez. I'm going to talk less and less and, you know, really just try to put you to the test here.
Great.
Take it away. I'm kidding. I think that, you know, like, Elder Dragon's coming up in 5.5 minutes. Realistically, the only out that Gen.G has left. And, I mean, there was a lot of things that they could have done in the mid-game to help mitigate some of the advantage that DRX had, such as freezing, pulling waves, and things of that nature, but not going to happen. And this is just, it's very similar to Game 1, where DRX just got edges, Gen.G could never really stabilize, and things spiraled completely out of control. Chovy having a excellent laning phase, pretty much doing everything that was required of him. Baron has been started up. You can see the animations inside of the Fog of War. And Hawkshot's going to come out. They're going to get the bad news. This is an impossible fight to win.
Well, they're going to try it anyway. We'll see what they got, as a huge knockup is going to come in, and a follow-up taunt is massive. Huge amounts of damage coming out of the side of DRX. You can see that Ruler is trying his best. That's a big VDD ultimate. Can they actually make it happen? Ruler getting those autos down, and he's trying to go 1v3 now. He's got a shield and a dream, but that is all he's got now is the dream. Life is going to run away, and there you have it. They tried their best, but still DRX are going to be able to take down this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get the Baron, end up resetting. Their items, I mean, you just see Ashe just tickling the opponent. She does literally no damage because they have double Mountain Dragon, they have Mountain Soul. Ruler's not doing anything. I mean, we have Oblivion Orbs being picked up voluntarily by members on Gen.G's side. So, I mean, that's I mean, it's the real cherry on top. So, the resistances are out of control. It does look like Death Dance was going to be the item for the Graves. We'll take a look at what ends up happening here. Echo goes in with the Nautilus, and what should have been a really good narrow corridor for Life and Ruler to really just dish out so much damage, just was not able to. They're so far behind. So much HP being granted over. Chovy going in there, getting the triple kill. And now as we come back into live, Baron buff, 2.5 minutes remaining. DRX now with almost a 10,000 gold lead. And I can't imagine a world where they really blunder this kind of an advantage. I think it would be pretty unrealistic.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Gen.G do similar stuff in the last couple of games, right? Where they were super far ahead. It was very clean. I think that DRX are kind of doing it in their own style, right? Where it's a bit more aggressive. They're getting right in your face, and they've got the comp to pull it off. So certainly feeling pretty good for them. We note that Azir also picking up the Oblivion Orb here. Not sure how to feel about that. We'll see if he actually finishes a Morello's. But at this point, I mean, the item choices are like, you know, are they even going to be able to get to avoid staff is another question they have to ask. And yeah, it's just a bit of desperation. All these lanes are pushing in. You can see that Rascal, who was once the one hope of the team, is now kind of just being countered off to the side by a Shen who's pushing it in.
And I think at this point it's just going to be a slow and steady execution here. I think DRX, they don't want to bite off more than they could chew, like they did at one point earlier on in the series. And they're probably just going to play a little bit more reserved. Now, Akali's been on that needlessly large rod for pretty much an eternity, so I wonder how close she is to actually picking up another item, although stopwatch is there as well. You can see BDD trying to just permanently farm the waves that come into him, but they're not really getting any value. Slow and steady is the play by DRX. Chovy just permanently shoving in this wave. Baron has...
Right, 3-man ultimate comes in and immediately Ruler is on the other side of it, but here comes that Echo immediately just going to wipe him off the map. But Reskull is actually getting into the back line and is doing a good job of cleaning up the rest. So they get Pioshik and Deft. And you're thinking, hey, I mean, that's something good. Well, they're still losing some turrets, but at least they stopped the Baron buff push.
They did stop the Baron buff push, and now there's 1 minute until that Elder, but Deft and Pioshik, they will be up for that. Chovy's gonna end up raising this bottom tier 2. He has Magi Soul Stealer, does have the 10 stack, so he's getting the MS passive. And you can just take a look at how this all happened. BDD with a 3-man ultimate there. They get in onto Deft. Ruler able to just delete him. Rascal going in there, getting the execution onto the Graves. Those are 2 really big shutdowns. Shurima turret summon in the mid lane. And you can see Chovy, I mean, he's trying to get some sort of a setup. He's about to ding level 18. Oh, no, parallel. Ooh, we did not check the brush. Good night.
Oh, actually gonna live. Okay, here comes the rest of Gen.G. Nobody on the side of DRX is here. And Chovy, incredibly fast, but, well, the Horsey is going to be faster, and finally, Carry is going to get here. Just straightens him up real quick with the ultimate as we have more and more stacks being built up there for the Magi's. Chovy 14 right now. He's 5-0-2 with a death cap. This guy is unbelievably fed.
Well, I think that at this point they're going to get Elder Dragon, and if they can't end with the Elder, they'll certainly probably get the next Baron. And again, take a look at the levels pretty much all across the board. Chovy's up 3 levels on mid lane. Graves is level 16. I believe that Hecarim is 14? Oh no, he's 13, even worse. So we take a look at how this transpires. Chovy comes in here. He eventually gets the passive. He's running so fast, he even gets feared in the opposite direction. You can see that Gen.G, I mean, they were all turning back around, I think anticipating that other people were there faster. Morello on Azir, and I think that we do see why Shurima did fall.
I think it's pretty obvious at this point, LS. not much else to say about that choice. As, yeah, it looks like they're just going to go for the end right now. They're not going to waste any time, 30 minutes in. And their massive lead. Chovy has so much health, so many resistances with that mountain soul on top of it all. And yeah, I mean, they've got Azir. Azir, of course, always going to be great at clearing these waves, especially when there's no Baron buff. But can he actually keep the game alive is the question. Here comes the parallel convergence once again. Ultimate just going to be there to zone. In goes Chovy, says see you later. And in goes Clit as well, trying to take them all down in the back line. Rascal as well here is going to get knocked up, and they're just way too far ahead, able to knock them all down. Life goes down as well, and the taunt comes out from Doran. They're just going to execute everybody under the fountain, but they don't even have time. GG comes in, and we will have a game number 5.
Well, that is going to tie up the series 2-2. Gave player of the game over to Chovy because removing Azir from the game pretty much entirely, having that level of a lane kingdom, gave Pioshik so much freedom inside of the game. He was allowed to just walk freely against the Hecarim basically everywhere and just achieve so much for his team, and they never really dropped the ball. And the Kalista and the Nautilus down there in bottom lane able to get the CS advantages they were looking for, able to get on top of the game and not really miss a beat pretty much at all. And now this is it. Silver Scrapes is coming out here. DRX, can they pull it back and end up winning the series to go on to face Damwon?
That is the question. I mean, DRX are actually making it look interesting. That game, though, Gen.G did look entirely flat, right? That's very different from the last couple of games that we were seeing, so I'm just wondering, did they, we had this massive 3-hour break, and this affects everybody. It affects us. It affects the players, obviously. We went and we took a look in the DRX room, and they were all very pensive, right? Nobody was jumping up and down. They still had an extra game to go, they know, but there were no happy faces with the wins. And at the same time, Gen.G, I mean, we didn't really get to take a look at them, but I'm kind of concerned, you know? What happened over this entire break to make this game look this much different?
Well, I mean, we see some of the highlights, and I think that, again, a lot of it is just momentum. Swing ends up going away. Gen.G could actually maybe have even been tilted, feeling like they were all coming off very high emotions. Lots of maybe dopamine kicks with some of the plays that they were making in games 2 and 3 and what have you. Being able to just jump ahead inside of the series, bring it to match point, and now here we're going to be going instead to game number 5, and obviously the Rift Herald fight not going the way that it could have gone for them. They fell very far behind from here, but I think, again, a very big byproduct of this is Clid just couldn't play inside of the jungle. BDD removed from the game without really any influence. Karma came in blind, essentially, because you had to respect that the Shen could just pivot top lane. They didn't respect it, and then they ended up finding themselves in a pretty volatile bottom lane matchup. Now, there was ways to play around it, but they also could have just drafted a little bit differently so that they didn't need to play around it, or skirt around it, I should say, with the kind of variance that could end up happening. BDD had a couple of good play attempts inside of the game, but none of it was ever really going to be good enough, as the weight of the Drakes and stuff, just way too much pressure.
Absolutely. Just a little bit too much gold, a little bit too much value overall, and Chovy was a beast. I mean, this poor level 13 Hecarim trying to do anything against the now level 18 Echo after that kill. Just styling a bit towards the end, you could see 5v5, Gen.G just didn't really have any chance. And yeah, at this point, I mean, it was like 11,000 gold, so not really much else to say about this one, except that we are going to a game 5. I hope that everybody holds up, as here's the damage Delta Champions graph. Looks a little bit different, but there it is.
Well, this is definitely interesting. I mean, Hecarim did not get to play, pretty much. We already knew that. Clid had some interesting pathing attempts to try to save some of the situations that he was finding himself in, but Rascal not able to really do a whole lot on the Akali up there in top lane. And honestly, I don't think that it's really super worrying for Gen.G, but I feel like they're going to need to collect themselves for game number 5, because this could be a very tilting kind of a thing to have happen after that break.
So guys, we are going to go to a break. When we come back, game number 5, Silver Scrapers.